Hi. Hi everyone. So guys, today I'm doing a double live on my Facebook page and here on Instagram. So I will be doing it like here and there as well. And I hope that today's live will be highly practical and helpful for you, because today I will speak about 5 ways of how you can use photography inspiration, which you find everywhere, like Instagram, our favorite Instagram, and Pinterest, which is one of my favorite services for searching photos, or whatever you use for searching your photo inspirations. And of course, most of us here are photographers, and we look at lots and lots and lots of photos, right? If that's you, please give me like a heads up and send me a message. And anyway, I would really appreciate, guys, if you send me, like, whoever is on Facebook right now, tell me if you hear me well, if everything is good, like, and I encourage you to send me questions here as well. I will get to them a little bit closer to the end of the live after I finish with everything, because we do have a topic today, working with photo inspirations. But before I begin diving into that, I want to tell you a little bit about my recent initiative, which is called Wild Visual Storytellers Private Facebook Community. And I'm really excited about that right now. It's a community for creators who want to go for something a bit different. For those who are into creating maybe surreal or fine art photography, something that is out of the ordinary. And sometimes it can get lonely when you start creating photos like that, and this is the community where I want us to hang out and support each other. So this is a community where we believe that photography is much more than just gear and technical perfection. It's a means of impacting the world, and however big or small that impact can be. It's a community of artists who strive to create meaningful, authentic work while speaking their truth and being brave enough to be unapologetically themselves. And if that's you as well, you feel that this resonates, but you feel that you're not quite there yet, you don't quite understand your creative why, what kind of message you want to put into the world, it's okay. We are in this together. You're very much welcome to join our community. If you're about to join us, please go ahead and go to my site, to my website. It's dashapears-art.com, and hit community. There you will find the full description of whatever we're doing there right now. It already has so many awesome people there sharing their incredible work. We are there also to learn together, to share ideas, to bounce, to find collaborators maybe locally, because that's also very important to find support not only online but right here. And we, together with my awesome assistant Sita, we're planning to have creative challenges there in that community. And the first series of challenges will be focused on playing with composition rules, so that's like a little announcement there. As well, we are later on planning to have a gallery of our works on Instagram as well, so that we can that community is private, and only people who are in the community can see the works right now, but when we will be courageous enough to share the actual work uh, that we have created there together, finding the why, finding the meaning for our work, then we will be ready to share it on our official Instagram and get support from the outside world as well. So that sounds really awesome. And of course, I will be doing some private, more intimate lives in that community. So there are so many cool things to come. So guys, if you are interested in joining the Wild Visual Storytellers tribe, please go ahead and go to my website. It's Dasha Pears art.com and click community in the main menu. Now, getting back to the main topic of our today's conversation. So, of course, all of us look through tons and tons of photos, and there are two ways of how this overload of visual information impacts us. And of course, this influence can be good and bad. First of all, of course, it's good. We need to look at photos to understand where the photography industry is right now. Like, what other techniques that others are using? What are the top industry standards? We need to know those things to grow, to learn, to be ahead of our competition. Of course, that's really important. However, the bad effect of that is that when we look at lots and lots of photos, our brains record all of the information, and we sometimes look at a photo and completely forget about it. However, this information stays in our brain, and we cannot help it, but sometimes the ideas that we saw in some images of others, they will pop up in our brain, and we will be completely sure that that's our own original idea, and that we're not copying anyone, and that it's just arrived into our brain, and that's normal. And of course, we don't want to do that, because no one wants to be a copycat, like consciously especially, and unconsciously is even worse. So what I suggest to do when we have that kind of a situation, we don't want to stop looking at photos completely, and because I just have mentioned that there is the good effect of it. What we want to do is that, I have actually 5 ways or techniques to work with photography inspiration in a more sophisticated way, so that you do get new ideas, but you don't end up copying them. Just let me collect my thoughts a little bit. So first of all, you need to look at more photos, but not just from one photographer. You need to consciously look at photos of many photographers. And actually, what I encourage you to do is to create a list, which this is gonna be like really practical, guys, and you wanna make notes here as well. So you need to find at least 10 people whose work you really like and admire. Just write out the names of photographers who you really like. It's good to have 1 or 2 role models sometimes for other reasons, but if you are, let's say, in love with photography over just a couple of people, then it will just completely destroy your own originality, because you will be trying to create those images that you are so in love with. And that happened to me. Just, I'm not immune to anything. That happened to me in the very beginning of my career. I was so much in love with photography of Anka Zhivleva, first of all, and then there is Olega Prisko, and their photography is a bit similar. Many of you agree will probably to this, and I think that some of you know, well, hopefully many of you know them, but it just doesn't work like this. And that's why I got in the very beginning many comments like, Dasha, this is nice, but it reminds this and this and this, and that didn't feel nice when I heard that. So what I want you to do is to have at least 10 photographers who you like. The more the better. And to actually immerse yourself in the works of those photographers. What I suggest doing is to maybe creating folders on your computer, or maybe on your phone, or if you're a real nerd, you can create like real folders, like cardboard folders, and print out the works of those photographers and collect them there. Another way is to create Pinterest boards for those guys and collect the works of those photographers that you like there, and then actually look at those photos and try to analyze them. And by analyzing, I mean, ask yourself why you like this particular photographer. What attracts you in his or her work? Is that the light? Is that some kind of a particular use of colors? Is that maybe the spontaneity, or is it the poses of the people? Like, it can be anything. Just really understand why you like those works. And that's gonna be our second way of working with photos. So first of all, you collect at least 10 people, and the more the better. I recommend like getting maybe 15, and they don't have to be your contemporaries. It's even better to go to the history of photography, to go to the guys like who started photography, like Julia Margaret Cameron was one of the first female photographers, and her works, fine art works, are really amazing. And I think like she was one of the founders of or the creators of fairy tale like photography. Go ahead and study her work, for example. Then don't limit yourself only to fine art photography. That would another one of my suggestions. Go and study like street photography, maybe fashion photography. I love the works, like I personally, I love the works of Richard Avedon. I like the works of Rodney Smith. I love Enrique Brisson. I love Robert Capa, who was like a war photographer. Study different types of photographers, and include contemporaries as well. Those people who you follow on Instagram or other social networks. So the second thing would be to go to those photos that you like, and to actually ask yourself, like, what are the things that I like in the work of this photographer? Like when you have like a selection of some works of a photographer that you like, what am I attracted to here? Like, why would I like to have those kind of things to be introduced into my work? And how those things resonate. Like, for example, you can say that maybe I like the particular use of light of this photographer, and why, like, actually think why you like that. I will give you an example from my work with inspirations. Let's say I love the works of Rodney Smith, and I'm asking myself, like, why do I like them? Because they look surreal, they have amazing locations, he works like amazingly with light, and they're at the same time they're very spontaneous. And then I'm thinking, what can I introduce from those things to my photography? And like, his compositions are perfect, and that was actually what I greatly borrowed from him as well. So I'm very much fond of composition and composition roles, also thanks to my obsession with Rodney Smith, for example. And then there is another photographer that I like. She's a contemporary. Her name is Sanja Marusik. She's from the Netherlands, if I'm not mistaken. I might be, though. If I'm wrong, then just correct me. So, and her name is, yes, Sanja. Just getting back to that. What do I like about her work? Her work is is bursts of color. The color is just amazing, and I recently shared her profile on my stories in inspirations when I was sharing them. The colors are simply crazy. They're crazily saturated, and the work is also very much surreal. She works a lot on location. She like her mind seems not to have any boundaries with, like, she's really bold with the plots of her photographs, and I probably wouldn't like to represent, like, to introduce that type of light, no, like, not light, but color into my images, because I really like muted colors. But I'm fascinated by the way that she, like, thinks boldly, and probably I would borrow that from her. So now comes the next point. When you have analyzed the works of the photographers, then you understood what exactly you like from them, from each of them, you can understand what elements you can combine in your work. And when you combine different elements from all of those 10, 15, 20 photographers, you simply cannot end up with something that resembles just one of them. Simple as that. Because that combination will be unique to you, and you are unique. So there is no way you will ever be able to copy anyone when you understand, like, when you broaden your outlook, when you understand what like, why you are attracted to the images of those specific people, what type of techniques you want to borrow from them, and then how those things will help you to communicate your message in your photography. So that's gonna be the third thing. When you understand why you want to introduce this particular light, or this particular use of color, or this particular let's say type of a model into your work, and how it will help you communicate your message, then there will be no copying. And get into the fourth technique of working with inspiration. When you look at photos, please, please, please understand that there are seriously no rules of how some type of photography should look like. Just really, like, let it sink in. There's no rules of how a conceptual photo should look like. No one told you ever, ever, ever that a conceptual photo should have a girl in a vintage dress in an outdoor location somewhere running in the fields or in the woods. No one. Just it didn't happen. Yet many people think that conceptual photography is exactly that. There should be a model. Again, you don't want to copy anyone. Like it just won't happen. And it was just really uh, I might be, you probably know who I'm referring to. I love the work of Brooke Shaden. She is a great and amazing educator. She has done so many things to spread the word about fine art photography, and I love her for that. However, many people look at her work and think, like, seriously, when you understand that, again, some like mental blocks, they leave you and you start creating something that resonates with you personally. And the last but not the least, looking at photos is good. However, you should never limit your inspiration to just photography, because again, when you look at the same industry, nothing original usually pops up in your head. Again, as we said, we will just be unconsciously copying the work of others sometimes anyway. That's why I want you to look at other areas of life that interest you. Maybe this is sports, maybe this is, let's say, cooking. Oh, that can be like you're concerned with the environment, and of course like it can be anything, but mostly of course that can be other types of art. And first of all, it can be visual arts, and here we can name everything from architecture to design, illustration, my favorite one, anything. It can be music, it can be cinematography, definitely another visual type of art, it can be sculpture, whatever. So when you feed your brain with other types of inspirations, your work becomes more original. But this is a topic for our next live, and I will be talking more in depth about working with different sources of inspirations which are not photography in a couple of weeks. Or no, I think this one is scheduled for maybe this Sunday, but I will let you know more. Just stay tuned with my stories. Meanwhile, guys, those were the 5 things that I wanted to share with you today. So first of all, you need to look at more photos, but not just from one photographer or 2 photographers. Actually create a list of at least 10 people and dedicatedly collect the works. Then analyze those works. What resonates, what parts of those works resonate with you, what part don't, like what you really hate in their work as well. Analyze how those things, those elements can help you to introduce some part of the message that you want to communicate through your photography. And after that, always remember and remind yourself that there is no such a thing as a supposed look, and never limit yourself to just photography as a source of inspiration. So that was what I wanted to share with you today. If you want to get more useful tips from me and you haven't yet done that, please go ahead and go to my link in bio on Instagram and download my free guide for adding a magical feel to your photo. That guide is a really practical PDF document or ebook where I have collected 7 really easy things that you can start doing today to make your photos look dreamier and more magical, like that soft look that will mesmerize your potential audience. If you're on Facebook, guys, you can go to my website, which is Dasha Pears again, dashapears-r.com, and go to start here. You will find the guide there. It was amazing today. I will now check the questions because I think I had some. Alright. Thank you so much, guys, for everyone who has joined me today. It was a pleasure to talk to you. Okay, I don't have any relevant questions. So, it was awesome. Thank you so much for joining. And just another reminder that this is a 5 live series. So the next live will be on Sunday. And I will share my ways of working with inspiration sources that are not photography. So how to work with them, what they can be, and I will share some really easy practical things that you can start doing today, like exercises. And here we go. For now, it was great to see you, and have a great evening.